going on? Telling you. So this was my Ruck Gamara being for sale back in my days. This was 1989. They were advertising this on QVC, and it was like $959. See that? That's funny. They were advertising that camcorder. So yeah. So if I was gonna make a video about how do I compare 1989 with 2004, how do I compare 1989 versus 2004? So back in 1989, what were things that I liked about 1989? Well, the first thing that came to my mind, even like what was in my mind back then, is I liked the improving technology of electronics, you know, like stereo equipment. I liked the improving technology and everything of the electronics. But if I was gonna have a quick say of the things that I didn't like about 1989, was like if I needed a part for my scooter, I had to go to the dealer to get it. I mean, there was no other way. I had to drive to the dealer to get the parts that I needed. There was no other way around it, and that's the quick thing. Plus, 1989, I mean, the wages kind of sucked back then, but overall, if I was going to say what did I like about 1989, well, I guess I liked the simplicity, I guess. Well, cars were easier to work on back then. Well, I was able to work on my scooter, I mean, back in my days. But the quick thing that I just didn't like was the fact that if I needed a part for my scooter, I had to go to the dealer. That was the only way I could get them, and I had to pay the ridiculous prices for it, too. But of course, we had wrecking yards too, but I mean, they almost never had the parts that I needed, you know. Again, now the things that I did like about 1989, well, I mean, housing was pretty cheap, you know, like, well, like housing was affordable enough for my mom by herself to afford it in West Covina back in the day and everything. But now, when I look at 2004, here's 2004, my life with Jenny Lynn. What did I like about 2004? Well, I loved that. I really loved the new technology in 2004. I liked at this point, I was liking the idea that I could do everything online, and I could look for music online, and I could order CDs, or I could find just about anything I want online. You know, that's what I liked. I liked the online shopping experience, you know, like, and even listening to music online. I mean, I was able to preview some of the songs before buying the CD. That's what I liked, online shopping, you know. That's what I liked at this point in 2004. Although at the time I was still doing them, I was still mailing letters, I was still mailing things, you know, like, I was still mailing letters, but I liked the idea that the online thing was becoming a thing, you know, like we were able to do everything online in 2004. That's what I liked about 2004 compared to 1989 anyway. So if it was like a part I was gonna need for the car or something, then I can look online, you know, I can look online if I have to, if I had to. And then what else? What else did I like about 2004? Well, just basically that. I mean, and then the technology, the electronics were much better off. And they're getting cheaper, becoming more affordable. Now, what about the things that I didn't like about 2004, the times there. Well, what did I not like? I didn't really like the housing, that it was going up, that it was going out of control. I was only happy that I was able to catch the mobile home for $12,000 in 2001. So at 2004, the things I didn't like was housing was getting crazy expensive there. It was getting more and more expensive every time we turned around, you know. That's what I didn't like. What else did not like about 2004? Well, I mean, the toughening laws of some sorts, you know, like the laws toughening up, you know, like on random things. Like, that's another thing I just didn't like about it. 2004. Well, I guess I thought the real basic things that I didn't really like was the toughening laws, you know, like, and then the housing market going crazy out of control, you know. But and then about 2004, it was like the beginning. This was like the beginning when the internet started taking over right here. About this time, you know, we got our first computer in 2004, like earlier that year, like a few months ago, we got our first modern computer. But we had internet. And we had internet, but I didn't really know much about using the internet. Well, look at they had those back then. They had those cheese balls. I have one right now. Legend has it that I still have those cheese balls right now. Yeah, I still have them. Legend has it that I still have these cheese balls. Where are those there? It looks like I had those cheese balls since then. Look. I had them since 2004. Well, anyway. What did I say that I didn't like or liked about? Well, right here, this was like the start of the internet. Although I was not into the internet back then because I didn't know much about it then. But I was liking the things about the internet, about the useful thing about the internet, like the finding CDs or being able to pay bills online and stuff, you know, like those are the things that was nice about it. I mean, that's what was nice about 2004, the beginning. But it was like the beginning, you know, of the internet. So we were doing cool things at first, but now, if we're gonna fast forward to 2024, the internet's really taken over, man. It's really bad. I mean, it's like a lot of negativity on the internet in today's time. But if we're talking about 2004 versus 1989, I liked 2004 because of the technology of stuff was really cool at this point, and I was able to record on CDs. I liked that. And then I was getting introduced to MP3s. I was not knowing how to do MP3s at the time, but I was getting introduced to it. So, but the things I didn't like about 2004 was the toughening of the laws, and then people are becoming more like, well, how we call it, more like like they're just not friendly anymore. I mean, I would say. I mean, but the laws and then the housing market was getting out of control. That's about it. I mean, but the things I liked about it was technology, and then the fact that the electronics are getting cheaper to buy and everything. And I was able to find CDs online, and I didn't have to hop stores anymore. That's what I was liking about. But now in 1989, if I would go to 1989, what do I remember? The basic things I liked about, well, things were pretty cheap to buy. Well, I mean, like housing was cheap to buy, or the rent was cheap. Gasoline was cheap. Well, but gasoline was not expensive in 2004, but rent was cheap. It was not an issue. Rent was not an issue. That's me right there. So, yeah. What did I like about... Well, the things that I didn't like about 1989 for just that example, was the fact that if I needed a part for my scooter, the only place I was able to go was a dealer and pay their ridiculous price for those parts. That's the only thing and of course we had to pay bills by mail. It was kind of a pain in the butt, but I lived through it. I mean, those are what I would say that I didn't like about 1989. And of course, electronics were crazy expensive compared to 2004. Yeah, well, because what I liked about 2004 was electronics were cheaper to buy, and they're better. They're getting better and better and cheaper. That's what I liked about 2004 compared to 1989. But the things I liked in 1989, what did I like? Well, housing was cheaper. I mean, and people weren't so inclined to their phones. There was no phone. But even in 2004, it was like the start. 2004 was the start of people being inclined to the phones, you know, like, it was like the start of people, like, getting all hooked up to their phones, you know, like, at the 2004, it was a start. But at the time, though, like, as you could see it, Jenny Lynn was talking on the phone there, I mean, so it was about the start where people were getting really into their phones and putting too much of their time on their phones. And it started around 2004 or 2003 or something, like 20 years ago. I mean, yeah, but that's the accent. 2004, and then so it was the start of the issue with the internet and phones. People, it was the start. But the internet, it started out with being nice. I mean, it started out with being useful, like being able to find CDs online rather than hopping stores. And then it was useful to have a phone to call for an emergency if our car breaks down or something, you know. That was nice. That was the start of it. So that's what how I compared 2004 with 1989. Well, I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Today is July 1st, 2024. All right.